several new developments in South suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
No reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. A mayor's conference.
This isn't just a political misstep, it's an absolute implosion. When a mayor who dubbed herself a super mayor finds herself at the center of a federal probe, you know the crash landing is going to be catastrophic. Let's unpack how power, ambition, and betrayal are ripping through the village of Dolton. The tension in that room is undeniable. Residents put their faith in Henyard to guide them, but instead they watch their tax dollars vanish into lavish getaways and flashy self-promotion. Once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to reclaim. And when your closest allies start turning against you, the clock's pretty much run out. Loyalty fades fast when the FBI starts asking questions.
Anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances while the township...
Kareeli's account reveals a grim reality of just how far things unraveled under Henyard's watch. This isn't just about mishandling money. It's betrayal at a deeply personal level. Silencing a victim. Terminating someone for speaking out. That's a boundary no leader should even come close to crossing. Imagine putting your town's future in someone's hands, only to wake up and find $33,000 blown on Amazon in a single day. That's not just misconduct. That's ego. That's believing you're above consequences. The irony is sharp. From self-proclaimed super mayor to a possible inmate. It sounds like a movie, but it's painfully real. Real lives, real funds, real consequences. Dolton deserves more. And now, with federal pressure mounting and public fury reaching a boiling point, it's clear. Henyard's empire isn't just crumbling, it's imploding in full view. At this stage, you have to ask, will Tiffany Henyard become yet another headline warning us about unchecked power? Or is there still one last twist up her sleeve? Drop your thoughts. This story is far from finished.
About to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments. There will be anything. It will just be me addressing you guys to tell you what.
Tiffany Henyard's rise in politics started with charm, drive, and the vision of real change. She styled herself as the super mayor, capturing Dolton's attention with the image of a fearless, progressive leader. But beneath that polished exterior, a much darker story was taking shape. As her team settled into the office, troubling reports began to leak. Reckless spending, retaliatory dismissals, and financial indulgence, including a jaw-dropping $33,000 splurge on Amazon in a single day. It all pointed to a disturbing trend of abuse and control. Whistleblowers like Carmen Carlisle stepped forward, sharing stories that cut deep, stories of betrayal and broken trust. Tiffany Henyard's political rise was powered by charm, ambition, and a promise to transform. She called herself the super mayor, capturing Dolton's attention with the image of a bold, progressive leader. But beneath that polished image, a far more disturbing story was unfolding. Once in office, reports of lavish spending, retaliatory firings, and unchecked behavior began to surface, including a shocking $33,000 Amazon spree in just one day. Whistleblowers like Carmen Carlisle stepped forward, revealing a culture of betrayal, fear, and professional sabotage. What was once seen as leadership quickly began to look like control. Residents watched in disbelief as town meetings turned hostile, and local media uncovered deeper layers of deception, silenced voices, broken trust, a widening rift between the mayor and the people who once supported her. As federal probes intensified and the FBI got involved, allies began flipping, trust crumbled, and the once celebrated Henyard found herself at the heart of a scandal revealing systemic dysfunction and personal arrogance. This wasn't just about embezzlement, it was a total collapse of ethical leadership. Unchecked power turned a small town into a warning sign of what happens when accountability disappears. Now, with outrage boiling over and investigators closing, Henyard's carefully built image is collapsing in real time. From super mayor to potential inmate, it's a brutal, ironic fall. But this isn't a script. This is real. Real people, real money, real consequences. The village of Dolton deserves better, and with the walls closing in, only one question remains. Will Tiffany Henyard be remembered as another cautionary tale of power gone wrong? Or does she still have a move left that no one saw coming? Drop your thoughts below, because this story, it's far from over. This isn't just another political scandal, it's a full-blown collapse. When a mayor who proudly called herself super mayor ends up in the crosshairs of a federal investigation, you know the fall from grace is going to be devastating. Let's break down how power, ego, and betrayal are unraveling the village of Dolton. You could feel the tension in that room. People believed in Henyard. They trusted her to protect their community, but instead, they watched their town's money vanish into luxury trips, slick PR, and personal indulgence. And when your own inner circle starts turning on you, the writing's on the wall. Loyalty fades fast when the FBI starts knocking. Carmen Carlisle's story is a gut punch. It shows how far things spiraled. This wasn't just poor leadership. It was a personal betrayal, silencing victims, firing whistleblowers. That's a line no leader should ever dare cross. Now imagine placing your town's future in someone's hands, only to wake up and learn $33,000 was dropped on Amazon in a single day. That's not just corruption, that's pure arrogance. That's acting like you're untouchable. The irony is sharp. From super mayor to potential inmate, it plays like a cautionary tale. But this isn't fiction. These are real people. Real money. Real consequences. And Dolton? It deserves better. Now, with federal heat closing in and public outrage exploding, Henyard's empire isn't just falling. It's collapsing in slow motion for the world to witness. Her political journey started with charm, big promises, and progressive appeal. She captivated Dolton with the image of a fearless reformer. But as her administration took hold, reports of reckless spending, retaliatory firings, and abuse of power began piling up. That infamous $33,000 Amazon spree was just the beginning. Whistleblowers, like Carlisle, painted a disturbing picture of a mayor more focused on control than service. And as community meetings grew tense and local media peeled back the layers, a darker story emerged, one of intimidation, manipulation, and betrayal. As the FBI stepped in and insiders flipped, Henyard's carefully built image began to collapse. This wasn't just about missing funds. It was a breakdown of ethics, a textbook example of what happens when power goes unchecked. A small town became a national example of leadership gone wrong. So now, with her political house of cards tumbling, the only question that remains is, will Tiffany Henyard be remembered as another warning sign of unchecked ambition, or does she have one final card to play? Let me know what you think, because this story is far from over. When a mayor who once proudly called herself the super mayor ends up under federal investigation, you know the fall from grace is going to be brutal. Let's break down how power, greed, and betrayal are ripping the village of Dolton apart. You can feel the heartbreak in that room. Residents believed in Henyard. They handed her their trust, only to watch their community's money vanish into luxury trips and self-glorifying campaigns. And once trust is broken, rebuilding it is nearly impossible. When your own inner circle starts flipping, that's usually the end. Because loyalty only stretches so far when the FBI starts asking questions. Carmen Carlisle's story reveals just how far things deteriorated under Henyard's rule. This isn't just about bad budgeting. It's betrayal on a deeply personal level. Silencing a victim, firing someone brave enough to speak up. That's a boundary no leader should ever cross. Now picture placing your town's future in someone's hands, only to discover $33,000 blown on Amazon in a single day. That's more than corruption. That's entitlement. That's acting like the rules don't apply to you. The irony is hard to miss. From self-made super mayor to potential inmate, it plays out like a tragic drama. But this isn't a movie. These are real people, real funds, real harm. Dolton deserves better. And now, with federal heat rising and public outrage reaching a boiling point, Henyard's political empire isn't just falling. It's collapsing in slow motion for all to witness. At this point, the question is no longer if her story will end in disgrace. It's whether Tiffany Henyard becomes a lesson in unchecked power, or if she's still hiding a card no one expects. Drop your thoughts below, because this story, it's far from over.